This video is about using trash or rubbish for making bonsai. And those of you who know me well enough by now will know that I'm not a person who likes to waste. I like to save virtually everything that I can lay my hands on. I grew up in a very poor environment. Growing up in India, there wasn't much. So I used to have to save wherever I can. So that upbringing has spilt over into my normal life. Even when I started the business more than 30 years ago, people used to laugh at me because although I had a proper nursery, I was using yogurt pots and old plastic containers to sow seeds and grow plants. And they said that, oh, it couldn't be a proper nursery if you're doing things like that. I always like to tell the story of how I used to collect these supermarket carrier bags because they were giving it away for free. And I used to bring them back and use it in the shop for serving customers. And all our staff used to laugh at me. They say, it doesn't look good, you know, it's not good for your image. And in fact, I was ahead of my time because now they have banned the use of plastic bags, and not only that, they encourage the recycling of anything plastic. So I was, as I said, well ahead of my time. But despite that, and in this day and age where there's so much consciousness about saving the environment and reducing the use of plastics, I still am a bit sad that there's so much plastic and other things which cannot be recycled thrown away. Now, I was just about to throw things in a rubbish bin, and I said to myself, I shouldn't be doing that. These, believe it or not, these beautiful little containers, look at them. If you come close, I will show you what they are. It says here, vanilla chocolate, and this says milk chocolate. So these are little cartons for selling ice cream. So the ice cream is sold in these. I used to buy it for my grandkids, and instead of throwing it away, I collect them. And I collect them because I sometimes give it to customers who want to grow things. I give them free plant in a free little pot like that. Now, what does this remind you of? This reminds me of these lovely, proper semi-cascade bonsai pots. Look at the shape. It's almost identical. So let me show you what I can do with it. Let me just bring you a tray. And these are these little procumbens junipers we use. And how cool is that? Look at that. Nothing wrong with that. And if you were to paint it with some masonry paint or paint it black or brown, you'll get a perfect pot. Just drill or poke a little hole at the bottom and you've got a very usable pot. Same with these little containers. This was a one-trip container. When you buy these takeaway foods, they give you a little bit of pickle in that. So why throw this away? So don't throw things like that away. Same with these. These are also, I think, ice cream pots. Beautiful little pots. Ideal for bonsai. Ideal for making small bonsai. Same with these. This is a plastic sort of dish which you get given to you, and then one use and it's thrown away. But why throw it? You can use it for growing your plants in that. Another throwaway thing is this one. This little container is for some of these Japanese or Indian restaurants where they give you a little bit of rice, a little bit of lentil, a little bit of meat, a little bit of that. So it's like a box for your lunch or whatever. So these again are used once and thrown away. And in that you can probably poke little holes at the bottom, sow one type of seed there. After all, you're not sowing hundreds of seeds. So 2 or 3 of beech here, a little maple here, and you can get a multiple container for sowing different types of seed. Now, looking again at plastic, I know that this is not a thing for throwing away. This, in fact, is a little Christmas dish here, and that is a beautiful little oval dish. Now, usually after Christmas, these things are thrown away, but why throw it away? If you drill a few holes in there, I can show you what we can make. Just home in on that, I will bring a little bonsai, or two. We have these lovely little elms, and how about doing something like that, and maybe a little rock. It's quite amazing that people never think of using things like this. You know, it's got to be shown what you can do, otherwise these things just get wasted. So how cool is that, you know? That didn't even take a minute. A little Christmas dish, plastic dish. So you've saved yourself about £5 and you've got a little bonsai pot. I really shouldn't be showing all these things because I run a business, I run a shop. If I tell people how to save money, I won't make a penny. So I'll be destitute. But I still like to save the environment. How about these jam jars? These jam jars with the wide top, I love using. And you see, I have my hormone rooting liquid there, and we have the hormone rooting powder in there. So these wide top jam jars, I love keeping because I mix my rooting compounds in there, and then thick stems can be pushed into there and they will serve a very useful purpose. Another thing which people keep telling me of, now these are aluminium saucepans, and many people think that aluminium saucepans are not really good for health, and whenever my folk or my children come to the house, they throw them away. They said, you shouldn't be using these pans. So they throw it away. I rescue it. And instead of throwing it away, I use it for mixing all sorts of hormone rooting liquid, but I only keep it for that. So it's not used for anything else. One more thing. I came across this lovely little small milk container, plastic container. And I've shown you this before, but it's worth repeating. These little containers, I'm keeping this because it's a very rigid one. Most of these containers are usually now made of very flimsy plastic. But where the plastic is very rigid and firm, I like to use it for making these little scoops. So what if it only lasts a few trips, but at least you've made use of it. So that is a very usable soil scoop. Like these you have to pay quite a few pounds for, whereas that is absolutely free. So this is what we use it for. So for those who have not seen me do this before, these small little containers are very handy. You can use big ones as well. So that is a useful thing to do. Now, I have shown you in another video how to propagate hardwood cuttings with these containers. So you've seen this one, but I'm going to show you now how we use these dustbins. Some of these dustbins don't last very long. So already these have got a few holes in it, so this won't be used. But I'm going to use these very deep dustbins because when you make long cuttings, about a foot long or more, these are ideal because if you use these containers, you can only use very stubby, short cuttings, barely 3 or 4 inches long, or even shorter. Whereas with these dustbins, we can take some very, very long and big cuttings. So we'll show you at least how to do that. A very large trident maple. This, believe it or not, has been grown on our land for the last 30 or more years. It came as a little cutting, it's no longer that small, but it was only about an inch in diameter, and over 35 or 37 years, it has become like 18 inches in diameter. And a lot of this growth here, which are like inch and a half thick, have grown all in the last, I would say, no more than perhaps 5 years. But I can't let them grow forever. So I'm going to cut some of them off. And I'm going to use these for making large, thick cuttings. So not only am I harvesting cuttings, but I'm pruning the tree at the same time. Whenever I look at a tree, I always think, is there any scope for making air layering? But as I say, I should stop doing that, otherwise I'd never make any progress. My goodness, how many cuttings am I going to get? Look at it, masses. But I don't know why people don't use it commercially, because there's so much scope for propagating in this manner. This was going to be a leader, but I don't think I need it anymore. Let's cut it off. So while I'm taking the cuttings, I'm also shaping the tree. So this will probably end up as a massive broom-style trident. This tree seems to have a lot of potential. So we will watch this space, as they say. Okay, so we've got enough material here. So we're going to take this into the greenhouse and make cuttings from it. Right. Done so far is to seal the tops of these thick cuttings with wax. Just to repeat, by the way, these are little tricks I learned from someone else's video. Some of these videos posted by our American buddies, and they always stress the importance of sealing the top with wax. So I'm using paraffin wax over here to seal the tops, and then I'm going to stick some in this hormone rooting liquid, very powerful, strong liquid, and I will also soak some of them in hormone rooting powder. So this black dustbin has about 9 or 10 inches of soil in it, and we're going to stick these things right in. So you can see the value of having a tall dustbin. So I can make these long cuttings like that. Whether they are successful or not, we will see. the whole point of this exercise is to do it as an experiment. So I'm putting a few multi-trunk cuttings in. I'm going to stick some in hormone rooting powder as well. See the use of my jam jars? Oh. If they do root, I will be very, very happy. But as I say, this is my first time making cuttings with these thick branches. I've never been successful, and I was always skeptical when people said that you can make hardwood cuttings with logs this thick. But there's always a first time. Always a first time. There's no heat involved. So when I say that I'm going to show you how to make bonsai using a dustbin, this is exactly what I mean. So if you look in here, you see how deep they are. And I'm going to do a few more of these thin cuttings as well. So, and this dustbin I will use as well. So dustbin like that we can use for sticking cuttings like that, maybe a little deeper, and then we will just put the lid on and we will leave it here right through the winter and wait for the spring to come, and I will open it from time to time. So here are a few money saving tips for you. Enjoy your bonsai.